What's up? Hey, it's the TTP Field Manual Podcast. Welcome back, all you lovely listeners. As always, it is me, it's Joshy. Today with me is one of my other besties, Zach. How are you, Zach?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Splendid. We're both going to be in for a treat tonight. We've taken caffeine quite late to get this recording out on time, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff. Johnny is busy. That's all I have to say about that. But Zach and I are going to be today tackling, as the title of the episode probably suggests, a general FAQ. All the, kind of new to the hobby questions you may encounter on, say, social media or someone in your friend group. Before we get into that, though, of course, we're going to go through show notes. We're going to go through my favorite segment, How's Your Hobby? And then we'll get to the main topic, all right? So just sit back and enjoy. Show notes, Zach. What have you got for us?
Follow the Instagram.
Yes.
Follow the Instagram. We're reading He Who Fights with Monsters?
Something like that.
Yes, He Who Fights with Monsters.
Have you started yet?
I have. I was listening to it today.
Good first impression?
Yes, I am enjoying it. It's a much easier listen during my busy work life.
Infernal.
Yeah, well, then all the Black Library titles. No, I've been enjoying it. It's been good.
Wonderful. I'm really sad that Johnny's not here today because for once I could tell him I've actually already listened to 10 hours in a week.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I know. It won't happen next time. It'll just happen this time. But I'm enjoying it. It's like sitting down and playing tabletop RPGs again, except I don't have to do any of the prep work. It's great. But yeah, Discord, Instagram, YouTube, you can find all that stuff via our website, link in the bio. All right, I will ask you a question. How's your hobby, Zachy, bruh?
Non-existent. Actually,
what
no.
do you mean?
I built a Pascal Blightlord to proxy as a feathered bloat drone for our upcoming crusade, which we did a test run of over the weekend, and that was pretty fun. I tied with the person I was versing, but it was a good game nonetheless.
I brought my Adepta Sororitas back for a second season of our local game group's crusade, and in classic Adepta Sororitas fashion, everyone underestimates the T3 one wound body faction. In a game this lethal, Zach, what's a T3 one wound body army gonna do except melt everything it looks at? Because if they get shot, they're gone. So
exactly.
The sisters, I would say, are oppressive. We took down Be'lakor in 2 rounds. We took down a Bloodthirster in a round. I wiped Johnny by round 4.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive hearing that.
Yeah, now it will never happen again, though.
No.
But yeah, we're locked in for a crusade. We're going to play Nachman Gauntlet. We'll probably have a little episode in the future talking about our crusade and how that's all gone. Yeah. Have you been painting and building anything else, though?
No.
No. No. Noir.
No, I've been pretty slack on that front, unfortunately. Just busy with other life stuff.
Oh, I'll get you. Let me just turn my head to look at the models beside me. Yes, I have painted some. I'm definitely getting closer to my armies on parade. Looking at them now, it doesn't look like it, but hopefully in the next week I'll get them based. One would hope.
Hell yeah.
One would hope.
One would hope.
One would hope.
I mean, your fly girls are on their stand, so that's all.
Oh, actually, one of them snapped off again.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
I don't know what I did, but these models have come off of their bases and their flight stands more than any other faction of mine.
Oh, jeez.
I'll just be moving a model and their freaking backpack falls off. I'm like, oh, is your back tired, babe? You don't have that Adeptus Astartes muscle strength?
Nah, they've gone for a nap. It's nap time.
But I'm kind of in the trap of playing a game which is a little competitive, It's do I buy new models to fill a niche that I have not filled, such as infiltration units or CP generating commander? Or do I just suck it up and struggle?
Yeah. Oh, It's tough.
It is tough. But a question like that's actually a really good segue into what today's going to be about, general frequently asked questions. You and I both, Johnny as well, we spent a bit of time, mainly Reddit. I'm finding Instagram I never end up seeing the accounts I'm actually supposed to be following. It's a bit of a problem. But Reddit, it's fine. I actually see all the communities I'm meant to be following. And I see almost daily some very routine questions. And these are all extremely valid questions, don't get me wrong. It's not like Warhammer stores have like their own frequently asked questions page that you can go and read. But there are some questions that I'm a bit like, I got to do a PSA. I want to put this out there. So if you are listening to this and you got new gamers in your group and they have a bunch of, evergreen questions, just send this to them. Just send this to them because we need more listeners. What?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. What we're going to do for today's episode, Zach here, a bit of a newer comer to the hobby, eh? I'm going to actually ask you the questions, and then you're going to try and answer the questions, and then I may or may not expand upon your answer with my own several years' experience.
I think that's a great idea. And yes, I think, just over a year now. Crazy. But still a little baby.
Still a little baby boy, but you've come so far.
I have.
So proud of you, son.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
And I'm sure Grandfather Nurgle's also quite proud.
Probably not with the painting progress. But anyway.
Oh, well.
Get to asking the questions, Josh. Jeez.
Yeah, okay. So question one. Question one. I see this question most of all. This is what I think of when it comes to frequently asked questions. Zach, is Combat Patrol a good place to start with Warhammer? If I'm going to go buy my first box today, is Combat Patrol a good place to start?
I think the boxes can be. The game mode isn't. You're probably better off playing just a 500-point game of standard play, in my opinion.
But you think the box is a good start for an army?
Oh, well, it's probably army dependent, but I would say by and large, yes. If you're like starting, if you're like blank starting, yes. Am I wrong?
No, I think by all intentions, Combat Patrol is a good place to start. Advertising a Combat Patrol game mode as a good place to start, however, is, as you pointed out, not quite right.
Yeah.
If you were to buy a start collecting box and you wanted that to be a game mode, I would encourage you and your friends actually look at Age of Sigmar, where the spearhead boxes are a lot more balanced against one another. Yes. In Warhammer 40,000, Combat Patrol as a game mode's a bit of a non-thing. They don't support it with its own sort of format very well, outside of some White Dwarf articles that no one knows about. But if you were to start to collect an army, these are discount boxes. That and Battle Forces army sets, they are cheapest way to get some models and get a feel for what's going to be the hobby. So, yes.
And I think that some people get caught up on them including a unique character, which you can only include one of, and therefore the boxes aren't particularly great value on repeat buys. But if you are fresh getting into an army, by and large, not a bad place to start.
Yeah, unless you got a bit more of a disposable income and you know exactly what you want to get, like rule of cool, like what's your pie?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Second question.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need 2,000 points of in-game models before I actually start playing Warhammer 40,000?
100%. No, absolutely not. You can totally scale down the game. Typically, I think it's 1,000 points, but you could scale it down to 500 points as needed or as wanted. The game is balanced around 2,000 points, but yeah, 1,000 or 500 is probably just fine. Or even some events will scale it down to 1,000, 1,500 points in the sake of making the games a little more brief so that people can play more and not get too burnt out. So no, absolutely not.
I would agree. I have seen some YouTube Let's Play tabletop battle report kind of channels, such as Play on Tabletop, they have a really nice 500-point sort of rule system of their own, which is a lot more close quarter, smaller lists. That's a great way to get your head around how the game plays, because the turns will be shorter. You don't have the possibility of adding in what some people may call super heavy units, and therefore you're going to just have a bad time, as none of your army can deal with that huge thing your opponent brought because they're a sadist. But I would say 1,000 points is probably the best average to start with. Mm-hmm. If you were to play 500 points, I would say pick a character unit, pick 2 infantry units, and then whatever points you have left, go with what you want. 1,000 points, you get to start to look into things like list diversity, and you get to understand sort of more of a army synergy, if you will. 2,000 points is a pretty tall order. You're going to find that if you haven't done this before, 2,000 points is going to be a lot of models. It's going to be a bit of an investment unless you're 3D printing or being handed an army. But yeah, it'll be a lot to paint. It will be a lot to build, and it'll be a lot to get your head around, and you could burn out. Start with that 500 to 1,000 point game and just see if you like it before you continue.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't lock you out of the hobby not having a 2,000 point army. Go with what you got and have fun.
Third question. Do I need to have my minis painted before I play?
Not targeted at all.
Wow, is it hot in here?
Oh, yikes. No. You don't have to. It's probably recommended. But no, absolutely not. I'll let you talk more on this one.
Look, if you're playing casually, I don't think anyone's good friends, emphasis on good friends, will care if you bring unpainted models, because hey, you've just spent money, you've built your models, you've probably learned the rules, you're going to get a game. Wonderful. That's more than most people get, honestly. Not everyone actually gets to play the game. If, however, you are going into, say, a local tournament, there is the expectation your models are painted to battle-ready standard. What that means is 3 different colors, and the base of the model is done. To an extent. You don't need the flashiest model. It just needs to be covered in multiple colors with the base done. So like maybe a little bit of texture paint, and you color the rim. That's it.
Very good answer.
Thank you so much. 4th question. Can I paint my models different colors from what is advertised? For example, if I want to play Dark Angels, do I need to paint them like the Dark Angels appear in all of their box arts and codex arts?
If you're playing Space Marines, yes. No, you don't. I should probably stop doing that.
You're going to psych so many people.
I think a great way to tackle this is communicating to your opponent. If you are planning on playing Ultramarines, having them blue is best so that your opponent knows what you're playing. But it can be like any variety of blue. Because Space Marines don't have too much variety between their armies. They have like a couple of things. Obviously, Salamanders typically have more flamethrowers. Space Wolves, obviously, you're playing Space Wolf models. At the end of the day, the color doesn't matter too much, but just make sure your opponent isn't like left in the dark as to what you're playing. Otherwise, that can lead to like some unfun scenarios for both people.
I want to have my actually moment.
Oh no.
For a long time, the game definitely was built around the idea that your models that you are playing with are a particular unit or faction from the lore. So if you were to play Ultramarines, for example, and you want the Ultramarines rules, it's like, yeah, you've got to be Ultramarines. With this new edition, Games Workshop has all but said, we're not doing it that way anymore. You will find that in the rules today, the detachments are very generically named, but if you're familiar with the game as a whole and the lore, you will find that a particular detachment or playstyle emulates something from the lore. For example, Raven Guard, Salamanders, they're like sneaky light armored units and flamethrower base fire units, respectively. Once upon a time, it would be almost a bit of a hobby crime to not have them be painted like Raven Guard, Salamanders, Ultramarines, etc. But now, who cares is kind of the way forward.
Okay.
With that said, you will come across some people that are a little bit rigid of mind and will not cope very well if you bring several things that don't quite look like they're meant to be one cohesive force. I will just point that out. You might find yourself in some situations where you have to talk your way out of why you did what you just did with your painting.
Or you just don't paint them.
Yeah. You sent me a meme like a week ago that was like, wait, I have to paint my models. And I just replied, well, you kind of need them, built to just even play the game. The painting can come later.
Yeah, it'll come eventually.
But hopefully that slightly longer answer answers some questions.
No, I think it does. Especially when Games Workshop, I'm not sure if the rules are still baked in, but had a advantage in the points of playing a game where if you had a painted if you had a painted army, if your army was air quotes battle ready, you got 10 points just for showing up with a painted army. I don't know if that rule still exists, but I am glad to see. Oh, it does? Okay, cool.
But we just don't use it for our home game.
Okay. Well, because I would never get it. But I'm glad that they've sort of stepped back a bit on that rigidity because, it is nice seeing diversity.
Yeah. How the sort of list building and playing of armies now, it's a bit more thinner, if you will, in rules compared to previous editions. And you might want to chop and change tactics between games. For example, in the 10th edition Space Marine rules, we're just going to keep using Space Marines. It's the most digestible metaphor. We have a few different detachments. One's obviously the changes tactics on the fly Ultramarines inspired Gladius Task Force. The Raven Guard inspired Vanguard Task Force. The Salamanders inspired Firestorm Assault Force. So you'll notice that none of them actually say Salamanders, Raven Guard, Ultramarines, but they obviously are inspired by, their rules of the past and their way of doing combat in the lore. So now they're just very generic. If I bring, Space Marines of a homebrew color scheme, but I've played several detachments that are obviously themed around different Space Marine forces. All you got to pay attention to is, am I bringing epic heroes from certain chapters or from certain armies that may invalidate a list if there's multiple people brought together? You can't bring a Dark Angels named character like Azrael and put it alongside a Blood Angels character such as Dante. Stuff like that. That's the only real restriction.
Yes.
You ready for the next question?
Certainly am.
Can I proxy my models as other models? For example, this Space Marine with this gun is actually meant to represent this other Space Marine with said gun.
So I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to bring this up at the end if you hadn't. Probably not in the context that you said it. Like changing their guns. If it's a whole squad and they have a different gun, then sure. But again, it's about communicating to your opponent and sort of letting them know.
Hey, good communication. Maybe we should apply that to all areas of our life, hey?
Well, another dig.
To expand upon your answer, though, it depends on the context of why you're wanting to proxy and how you're wanting to proxy. Are you in a tournament? No way, Jose. That will confuse the F out of everybody, and you may be playing at a bit of a cheaty advantage. Maybe. Not saying you are, but it may happen. You might just forget things. Your opponents might misread the board because they're used to a model being something else, right? If you're playing casually and you're like, hey, Zach, I want to try out this unit of Eldari aspect warriors before I end up going and spending my pocket money on them. Is it okay if I use this unit here to represent that unit I want to maybe buy in the future? If you have that conversation it's usually going to be, yep, okay, except for make sure they're of a similar size and they have the same base size.
Absolutely. Expanding on that, if I may, personal experience, like I said over the weekend, I brought some Pascal Blightlords, or a Pascal Blightlord as a fetid bloat drone. They have the same base size. They're roughly the same silhouette. I think the Pascal Blightlord is a little bit wider because of his wings. But, if my opponent can see the wings around the corner of a building, I'm not going to be a dick and say, well, actually, you can't shoot that, because even though you can see it, that's not the real model. You wouldn't be able to see. Like, if your opponent's allowing you to proxy models in that sort of fashion, then just be a good sport and go, okay, they probably won't do that, but it's about a bit of give and take. Use something that's, like Josh said, same base size, roughly similar silhouette, and isn't already in your army, because that's also going to confuse people a lot.
Something I didn't quite touch upon, but's worth mentioning as part of this question, is kitbash. If you build a model in such a way where they don't have the original as intended parts, is that okay? And I think, again, in a tournament, probably not, because they're pretty strict on official products only. In a casual setting, go nuts. As long as it's, again, as you point out, like a very similar silhouette. If you want to kitbash your Marines or your Nurgle or whatever in the maybe a bit more of a unique vision, that's usually very well received by fellow hobbyists for being a bit more creative. It's just not quite right for a tournament setting.
Absolutely. It's just that visual communication.
Yeah. Try and just keep them nice and simple. You don't want a bunch of guys with guns to actually represent a bunch of guys with swords, because then someone will charge the bunch of guns 2 hours into your game and then be like, oh, whoops, I forgot they were the sword guys, actually.
Absolutely. No one in a casual group is going to expect you to have, 100 Marines so that you can run the exact loadouts that you want to run, changing it up every now and again.
Yeah. Takes us to a nice next question. Can I or should I run a skew list? Meaning something that's obviously pushing the boundaries of maybe a fair play. Of course, meme lists are probably not going to win you that often a game. They're fun. What I'm meaning is like Necrons, for example. There's a bit of a meme of people running Oops or Catan, which are incredibly tough to take down demigod models, but you can bring like 5 of them in an army and still have points for like little objective monkeys, if you will. Look, if you're versing someone who doesn't have that many models and hasn't played that many games, it might be a dick move. What do you think, Zach?
I think it might be. I think that's a fair assessment.
Dick move. Like if you're like, get into this hobby with me, Zach, and your first game was me pulling out like actually low IQ, but like big gun, like toughest models possible in my army, and you've got a combat patrol style force, you would not feel good.
It'd be like me bringing Mortarion to a 500-point game. It's like that and like some Poxwalkers, and it's like, well, guess who's going to win?
Yeah, if you've played a strategy game before, you'll probably be aware of like, you don't want to bring the most overpowered busted combination possible to a casual game. But I've seen multiple times on Reddit, people are sitting there saying, my friend versed me. They had 3 Doomsday Arcs, the Silent King, 2 Catan shards, a Legends, point and delete nuclear missile of a unit,
and a Chaos Knight.
Oh, they've also misread all their rules and they have Feel No Pain 4-up instead of Invulnerable 4-up. Was this a fair match? And everyone's like, brother, find a new friend.
Yeah. I will say some slant lists or meme lists can be fun. I one day intend on running Oops All Agrodons, which is essentially 4 squads of reinforced Agrodon Lancers and the Agrodon leader. So you've got like 25 Raptor dudes just running around. I don't think it'll be any good, and it's going to be hella expensive, but I just want to do it.
What do you mean hella expensive? How many Agrodons do you already have?
Oh, I have 12. And then the leader. But like, no, but they're like $100 for 3. It's $100 for 3. It's like $1,000 for like the list, and AOS is the cheaper one. So,
cost is something to consider. Like if you have access to a 3D printer and you're playing casual games, like that's a good proxy. You've 3D printed something to save money and play the game. That's something else to mention. Yeah.
To answer your question, you can play slant lists, but it depends on what your intentions are. Like if you're intending to win with a slant list, then chances are you and your friends, again, are not going to have a fun time. But if you're going in and just wanting to have fun with a silly theme to the list, then chances are you'll both have a good time and it's fine.
Damn straight. Next question. Hey, aren't I playing Warhammer 40,000? What even is 10th edition?
It's the 10th edition of Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, but like I bought this rule book from like 8th edition. Can I play it with my 10th edition?
Well, you probably wouldn't put the book on the board, so no. No,
Zach.
but no. Get the new rules. They're free.
Yeah. So sometimes people pick up the game and their friends are like, "You want to play Warhammer 40k? Okay, sure." And then everyone's saying like, "Oh, like watch out for this old model if you pick it up. It's not legal in 10th edition." What is 10th edition? It's just the most current iteration of the rules. Is all. The game functions on a 3, sometimes 4-year cycle, wherein once those years have passed, usually all the material for that edition has been released, and what's coming out like in the present moment is probably a rule set that the previous edition just doesn't quite interact with appropriately or effectively, so don't even worry about it. But it can lead to such moments as, I went to my local game store and someone sold me this codex for like half price. Is it a good deal? And everyone's like, "Oh, brother, that was last edition."
Oh, no. How dare they?
So yeah, just be mindful if you are going to purchase rules like codex, supplements. Just be mindful at the time. Is it valid for the present day rule set? Most official Warhammer stores will be really good about that. Local game stores, maybe not always.
I have a segue question for you if it's not on your list.
I love segues.
Am I able to play the old edition?
That's a great question. Yeah, sure. If you and your mates agree to go back and play that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got the books or if you have a digital copy of the books, then go nuts. As long as everything, If you guys want to do that, like, because I actually do see that question pop up from time to time. And it's like, of course you can.
Of course you can.
Like, you've got the books.
Of course you can. Every couple of editions seem to be iterations on a similar premise, but if you go back to say like 5th or 6th edition, the game's probably quite different from what we understand of it today. For example, Johnny and I actually started with 9th edition, and we both weren't too hot on it because it had so many abilities that a faction could take, to the point where we would actually have to write down on pieces of paper abilities appropriate to the units we actually have. Otherwise, we would literally be flipping pages to see what we could be doing at any given time. 10th edition has taken that concept, trimmed all the fat, and just gives it to you with like, here's a list of like 5 to 6 abilities you can use. That's it. So different editions can have different complexities. They can have different tempos. I know like the super old stuff was a lot more fluffy and even janky to the point of not even being competitive. But you can certainly pick up a rule book if the models have an equivalent in that setting, like Space Marine Tactical Squad. Yeah, just backwards compat. Why not?
Go nuts.
Go nuts.
Play Hero Hammer and stop whinging. Hot take.
Follow up to that. Isn't Kill Team also 40k?
Yeah, it is. And you can more likely than not use those models in a 40k game.
True. But Kill Team as a setting is not compatible with 40k, despite the models released for Kill Team often having a normal 40k equivalent unit. Not always, but most of the time. Kill Team itself is a skirmish game, which is a much smaller scale game wherein the box you buy is probably all the models you need to play the game. It's a great entry point into strategy games because you are moving single models around the board to do things rather than whole units of things. And it's probably what I would recommend to people wanting to dip their toes into 40k. I actually prefer Kill Team as a game system to 40k because it's a lot more nittier grittier without actually being that much more complex.
And it's cheaper.
It is very cheaper, but you can usually pick up a Kill Team box, let's say Veteran Guardsman or Eldari Corsairs. Good chance there's a 40k unit you can play.
Yeah.
All right, next question if you want.
Nah.
It's been 10th edition for so long, but my army doesn't have a codex yet. When is it coming out? This is actually not quite a question for now because we're nearing the end of the edition. But sometimes we don't have a codex. What do I do?
Don't play Drukhari, for one. No, shout out to our friend who plays Drukhari.
He's not even going to play a single game before it's the next edition.
Oh, I feel so sad. Just hold on. Could you repeat the question?
So, let's say it's like, all right, this question's probably going to be a little bit more helpful to have an answer for in like a year or two when it's 11th edition. Let's say your Space Marine buddy, maybe your Orc buddy, whatever, they have a codex. They're flipping through it, but you play, let's go with Drukhari again. Let's say you play Drukhari and you don't have a codex to flip through. Can you even play that edition of the game?
Yes.
When do I get my rules?
So your rules will come out at some point during the edition. Fear not, unless they axe your army, which is very unlikely in most cases. But you will have an index. You'll have a set of index rules to use. So you won't have as many rules as the codexes typically come out with, but you will have a set of rules so that you can play your models and they're not just collecting dust.
Yeah, you might end up with rules envy as you're stuck playing a smaller amount of rules, but you can always play the game.
Yes.
Even some armies like Chaos Demons and Deathwatch don't have codices, but they have PDFs of their rules that you can download and play with.
Harlequins don't, but yeah, anyway.
Harlequins is a fringe case where they used to be a faction and now they're just like sort of smushed into Eldari.
But now they have a combat patrol? Like, I don't... Anyway, whatever. That's not a conversation for this topic.
Hey, aren't Death Corps of Krieg their own army, or are they still guard?
Yeah, okay. Never mind. Go with the questions. Go with the questions.
Sub-factions will be a good topic for another day. Where am I in my list of questions? Oh, well, that makes sense. Hey, will my 10th edition codex be valid in 11th edition? We kind of already answered that one.
Yeah, no, it won't. Sorry.
Probably not. I think that I could be wrong, but I think the 8th edition codices towards the end actually had some sort of compatibility with 9th. Like, it didn't really change that much. They just weren't as good.
Oh, okay. I wasn't around for that, so I'm not sure. But
yeah, I'm not sure is the answer I would give to right now. Generally, no. Your 10th edition book is for 10th edition only, is the general advice. However, 11th edition might be like more like 10.5, you know, it might not change all that much. I think they really struck gold with 10th and they should keep it going. So they might not. Hard to tell right now.
I do agree with you on that sentiment.
They spend a lot of time making the system actually work throughout the edition.
Just to flush it.
Just to flush it down the toilet, Zach.
Another topic for another day.
We'll get to it. 10th edition review. It was good while it lasted.
Yeah.
Man, that's actually one of the reasons why people go back to older editions, because they just preferred how it used to play, which, fair enough.
Yeah.
What's next? Why are my factions models always sold out, Zach?
Oh, wasn't it a pigeon? That's why they had to shut down one of the factories making models? I
think Paul is bad at stuff confirmed it was for a parking lot development.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Paul.
But why are your Probably. Well, I mean,
why they gone?
there's a lot of reasons. It could just be
You snooze,
that
you lose.
model is the new. Yeah, you snooze, you lose. Sorry, bud. Womp womp. No, it could be that I would imagine that they make models in batches and then they sell through that batch and then it's gone. And that model might be the new hotness. Maybe they release a new detachment around that specific model that you've been waiting to get for ages and ages. Looking at you, Trigon. And then they just don't have any. So, but what's the real answer, Josh?
To try and think economically here, and logistically, of course, not that it necessarily excuses them always being sold out. I mean, Horus Heresy 3.0 release with like 2/3 of the units out of stock, and that's just poor form.
Oh my god, did they really?
Yeah, they did. Anyway, think of it like this: Warhammer's always been, small fish in terms of like making toys, if you will, right? They're no Lego. COVID really bumped up the interest in these games like considerably. And whilst they realistically should have developed more factories, that stuff takes a bit of time. I think there are more Warhammer factories coming around, but at the same time, they've also been making a lot more than they ever have before. They probably have these things planned out months in advance. They don't allocate enough production time to making a surplus so that people will end up just scooping it up. Like, it's just a really rough supply and demand issue at the end of the day.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And like every week or two, there's something coming out, even if it's not for 40k, like it might be for Sigma, might be for the smaller games like Kill Team, it could be Horus Heresy, Old World. There's a lot of things they make, but it's all coming from the same place.
As a somewhat veteran, I do have a question for you. Have they always been releasing this much new stuff?
No.
And I know,
No.
And I know we can bitch and whinge about Year of Chaos not really being the Year of Chaos.
That was so misinterpreted. I'm sick of hearing about Year of Chaos. It was an article misunderstood.
But in reality, like they have so much new stuff. It is absurd.
My wallet's crying.
Yeah. Anyway, it's cray.
Every freaking day, it's like, oh, I guess I'm doing a Terminator army. Well, I guess I'm getting back into Harley Quinns. I always liked Krieg.
Josh can live his Librarian Conclave army dreams.
10 assault Terminators. Woo!
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But no, you're onto something. They have not done this much stuff. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that, new management. Let's do more stuff. More. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that. In fact, that might actually be what happened a few years back. But no, they haven't really done this much stuff. But I think this whole sort of hobby's really taken off in the last 5 years, and they're just capitalizing on it. And I don't blame them. The game's like the healthiest it's ever been, but there's a lot of stuff coming out that they're struggling to keep up with. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is a business, and people do need to remember that.
It's a luxury goods, business as well when you think of it. Like sure, it's toys and games, but I mean, it's not Steam library, like they have to make this and ship this, and it's luxury goods. It's not the end of the world if you can't get it.
Yep.
But they should make more.
They should.
They should make more.
So you can play your little army men.
Especially if they're doing armies like Chaos, which share like half an army between all the factions, and you can never get frickin' hell brutes.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. All right. Josh went on a passive-aggressive rage. Let's bring him back in.
Reel him back in.
Hey, where can I meet other players, Zach?
You have way more questions than I thought you would, which is great.
I got several more.
That's a good question, because I know I had like paralysis over this. Well, not paralysis, but I was definitely. Sometimes you'll meet them naturally in the world. But forums, local forums is a great place. Just go on Facebook, search up local gaming group near you, or go to your LGS and just ask, interact with another human. It's scary, but do it.
No notes. You've hit the nail on the head.
Thank you.
Next question. do I need to select a meta bunch of units or form a meta list if I want to play this game? Meaning, do I need to pick the OP combinations?
25 agrodons. No, absolutely not. At the end of the day, you're investing that much money into the hobby, that much time into building and painting. Absolutely not. Play what you think is cool. Play what you think you're going to love. And at some point in the game's history, it will be good. It will be meta, and it'll kick everything else's ass.
Yep. Are you playing a tournament? You might want to bring the best choice.
Oh, yeah,
objectively.
Okay.
Are you playing with your friends in the kitchen? Just play what you want. Do you know how many people will see the meta hotness and think, all right, I will order 60 flash kits or whatever it was for my more DACA detachment. And then like 2 months later, Games Workshop's like, oh my God, what have we done to the local tournament scene? More DACA sucks now, we're changing it. And everyone's like, but I just bought models. It's like, well, you shouldn't have chased meta.
Oh my gosh. With the turnaround time, it definitely is not worth meta chasing at all. And yeah.
With that said though, I do encourage reading. Let's say you pick up Combat Patrol and a couple of ruler cools. I then do encourage you to actually read like your most recent codex or watch some YouTube videos that break down what units you have available, because you might find that you actually encounter synergies that from a gameplay perspective you find pretty neat. And even if they're not the strongest synergies at the moment or in the future, you found something that you found cool. Like, oh, I didn't know that like this unit interacted with this unit. Like, I didn't realize that this unit shoots a enemy unit, which is going to make my other units, which don't have the strongest guns, suddenly get like an offensive buff for shooting at that same unit. So like, you can go rule of cool, but at some point I would dare say try and understand the game and what you think's cool through that lens as well.
I think you should also add in the advice that you gave me the other day when it came to list building. Could be very useful.
Oh, yeah, this is an advice that's been bounced around between a few folks, and it's this sort of idea that if you're playing a 2K list in the current sort of infrastructure of the game, if you will, you want to have maybe like 50 to 70% of your army be like what you actually want to play. There's a good chance there's a bunch of rules that will make it work. But 50 to 70% should be what you actually want to play. Do you love 25 agrodons? Is that half of your army? Great, have fun. But then what's left should be things that actually interact with the game, such as sitting on an objective and actually winning you the game via holding the objective. Or perhaps a little assassin character that can sneak in behind enemy lines and disrupt their objective holders. You got to think of it like that as well. You need a bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what I still have to ask you. Oh, this is a fun one. What if I paint my minis with other brands' paints? I have seen this before. Not very common question, I must say. It's not a very general FAQ, but I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah, no. Of course you can use other paints. Probably don't go down to your local op shop and get like $2 paints, but
kids watercolor.
yeah. But no, certainly experimenting with other brands. I know that there are specific paints in the GW line that people avoid, like white and such, and they'll go to other hobby brands like Vallejo. And so no, you can swap it up as you wish.
Yeah, most hobby stores stock other brands of paints. You'll find a lot of like painting tutorial creators also might mention eventually some other brands' paints. I myself have started using other brands' paints. For example, Abtalung 502 for oil paints, which are a bit more tricky to work with than the acrylic paints that Games Workshop stocks. I do have some sort of technical paints that actually shift the hue of the paint as you move the model. Ooh, like there are stuff
fancy.
Out there. Just ask around, ask your local store, like, hey, what's out there? What do you stock? Does this work with painting these types of miniatures?
Yeah. Games, you can get, if you want to just plug and play, you can get everything from your local Warhammer shop.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want to experiment, you're allowed to. Go for it.
Can my Horus Heresy models work in 40k?
If they're like the same base size and silhouette, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I think this is like an ish question. If you have like Space Marines, for example, and you got like 10 Assault Marines from Horus Heresy, you could probably just run them as 10 Assault Marines in 40k. The tanks, however, and those other more unique looking things and characters, probably not. They're a little bit too different.
Oh, really? Because I use my Horus Heresy Rhino.
Well, yeah, some of them.
Okay.
Some of them. You'll find that some tanks do have like a Legends rule set, which is like if you want to play them, here you go, here's some rules. But they're usually never that good. But you can certainly do like a Rhino swap, yeah. Look at what you've got or what you want to get, and does it actually like relatively match what you want to use it as?
Yeah, just don't proxy Marines as Tau or Nids.
But in the Lord, some of them might have defected.
Oh, true. Yeah. What's the human faction in Tau?
Guvessa.
Nerd.
Hey, I need to run this show with information on hand.
that you do. One of us needs to know something.
Yeah, that Horus Heresy question kind of ties back into what we talked about earlier. Just try to make it as similar as possible. A rhino's a rhino no matter the game, but maybe a Fellblade isn't,
Yeah. And same for, as mentioned before, I feel like a lot of these questions come with the caveat of if you're participating in a event, like a competitive event, no.
Yeah, home stretch now, Zach, home stretch. This next one is the last sort of one into what we've sort of been talking about, and then the last few are a little more cash.
Rapid fire.
What are Legends models, and can I still play them?
You know what? I'm not super familiar on this topic. I haven't delved into it. I'm going to say yes.
Hey, look at that. A great question for that newcomer versus old timer, even though you're older than me.
Oh. Burnt.
Well, we're pretty close in age. We're pretty close, guys. I'm not that mean, I swear. Look, so as we've talked about, they make a lot of models in a rapid, rate. Sometimes, as the editions go between, the company takes a step back and is like, look, we've had X, Y, and Z unit for so long now. No one's really buying it, even though some people really like it. But once you've bought it, you've got it, and no one's going to, need to go buy it again. You know what I mean? So some of these older models that don't quite fit the narrative going forward are going to be sundowned. They get sort of no mention in the modern indexes or codices and are often put out via PDFs that are like, look, have you played with these guys for like the last 10 to 20 years? Here's some like rules to throw your way. You can keep playing them. And they're called Legends data sheets. They're not accepted in tournaments because they're old and not everyone knows about them. But in casual, games, sure, give them a go. I personally have kitbashed all of the Legends Necrons Overlords so that I can play with them because they're neat and they do some unique stuff. Are they competitive for their points and abilities to other units? Not really. Not always. Sometimes. But yeah, if you're going to use Legends models, just sort of put it to your opponent like, hey, is it okay if I use Legends?
Most of them will be fine with it, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are when I keep bringing Necron Overlords that I've kit bashed. I'm like, look, it's Anrakir. Hey, this is Nemesis Zandrek. And everyone's like, okay.
Was that dude that like did all the lightning? Was he a Legends character?
No, he's modern. But his original model was actually part of the bunch of dudes that got Legends. Like that range that his original model was part of did get Legends, but he himself got a new model. So yay!
Oh, very cool.
All right, now for the real home stretch. Do I need specific formats for my terrain?
No.
Nah. In a tournament, again, tournament v casual. That's the big question I'm noticing. sorry, it's a big answer I'm noticing when it comes to a lot of these questions. Are you in a tournament or are you playing casual?
Yeah.
A lot of discussions online are coming from a more experienced professional perspective. Most people are actually playing in a casual setting. Do you have enough terrain to block line of sight and stop your opponent from shooting you off the board before you've really had a turn? No? Then add some more terrain. Do you have terrain to sort of separate parts of the map into potential like flanking lanes, covers, buildings that units can take cover within as they hold an objective? No, you don't have any. Maybe put some down. If you got like boxes, or if you got even like cans of food, old toys, like use whatever you can. It probably works quite well for the scale of this game.
I will jump in and say, if you are new to the game, looking at the tournament advised layouts is probably a good starting point, and then maybe add like a couple of like little bits in extra.
Yeah, and it actually depends as well based on your region. Certain regions of the world play with different styles of terrain. For example, I think European countries tend to play more denser tables, whereas like American tables tend to be a lot more open concept. I also really like figuring out what you want to play. Like, are we playing a dense hive city? Well, maybe there's stuff everywhere, but make sure you can still move your vehicles and stuff around.
Yeah, make sure it's thematic. Have fun.
All right. How can I possibly build and paint an army in a timely manner, Zach?
Lol.
Lol, Lamau even. You guys are finishing armies?
Yeah.
I haven't finished one. Why are you guys even listening to me?
Don't buy more than you need.
What? But the dopamine rush of buying many things.
Exactly. Feels good.
It feels good for a brief moment. And then I realize I'll never finish them.
I'll get around to it.
Eventually. It depends how you're painting them. Like, do you have an airbrush? Go brrr, you're done.
I do.
Zach, I set you up. No, honestly, like there are many ways to paint your models and have them actually look good. There's lots of people online that you could follow. I like personally channels such as Cult of Paint. Sometimes other channels are good to get advice from, such as maybe Midwinter Minis. There's lots of people out there. But I know for myself personally, my Necron army is a really simple paint job, and they're also quite a easy army to get details looking good. I'm doing an Adeptus Sororitas army right now, and let me tell you, I feel like I will never finish them. They have so many freaking details compared to my Necrons. It's overwhelming some days. I have a checklist in my phone, so I remember what's the next step.
Josh, you're scaring the listeners.
Yeah, but you can paint them simply.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. Like, you don't...
Like, what do you want?
It's up to you. Like, there's like... Back when I was painting my Death Guard, the original Death Guard colors, there were certain things that I was like, well, I'm not going to bother with that. And I think that that's fine. But watch some guides on YouTube. Paint a test model to make sure that you understand. So just paint one to full completion. Make sure that you sort of are happy with it. Look at what you would maybe change, make those changes. And then use that as an example, and that'll allow you to get through an army much quicker to identify the steps and the order that you want to do it in. And yeah, you'll blitz through it. You just got to sit down and actually do it.
Yeah, you've got a really good thing you like to tell me, which is just spend an hour each day doing it.
Yeah, I'm great with coming up with. I am great with coming up. What am I trying to say? I'm great with coming up with solutions.
Oh, there we go. That's what you meant.
Just poor on executing them.
I feel like our next time we record, we probably shouldn't do it at the end of the freaking day.
That's all right. That's what coffee's for.
Woo! Yeah, spend an hour or two. Most days, if you want. People do silly things such as I painted an army in 48 hours and my wife has left me because I ignored her for the whole weekend. Oof. You know, that was an exaggeration. But, you know, you don't have to do it all in one, bang. Just take it easy. Maybe like this week you're going to do like your basic colors. You're going to you're going to get the red on the cloaks and maybe the black on the boots. Next week is maybe we'll do all the weaponry. We'll put all the metallic details on. The week after, so forth. And then before you know it, with how busy life is, a couple of months pass, you're like, oh, damn, I've done my army.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Yep. But Zach, if I haven't even finished my first army, is it a good idea to start another army?
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Are you kidding me? This game's meant for playing.
Yeah, well, it is.
Hey, some people actually like to just collect and build and paint, not actually play. That's cool too.
I don't, no matter, it depends on what you're seeking from the hobby, what sort of fulfillment or gratification you're wanting from it.
Put that on a shirt.
Probably. No, that would be too long. But it'd be too much
just
text.
Trails off.
Yeah. No, it's probably not a good idea. No.
Yeah, what do you want to get out of it? That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
Our particular game group plays quite regularly, every week or two. And so we are inspired to actually collect in a way that allows us to play the game. There are, of course, many people that are happy to do their one model at a time. And then in 2 years, oh, look at that. I got an army. Maybe I should play the game. There are people that don't even give a damn about the game and will never play it and just collect what model looks cool that week. Go nuts. Whatever is your cup of tea, drink it.
Yep, 100%. I do feel bad turning up with a grey army.
I do feel bad turning up with a grey army, but my opponent usually also has a grey army.
I'm trying to think who has a grey army. Well, I mean, you've got your Eldari, but other than that, most armies are kind of painted. Well, yeah, exactly.
Well, most of our gamers in our group have been playing the same army for some time now.
Oh, that's true.
Even if there are some grey units, they're usually the newest ones purchased, and there are units painted. But, we're obviously trying to change up tactics, and we want to play a new detachment maybe, or we want to expand the size of our game, so we need a couple more things. And then you have some grey units. That's okay.
Well, so what you're saying is I don't have any free time on the weekends to paint because I play.
Keep playing.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No. I have 4 armies. I started with Necrons. Most of them are actually painted with somewhat, a couple of colors. Even if they're not done, most of them have some sort of paint on them. I have at least done that step.
Your Necrons are looking good.
But I don't have 2,000 points of them painted fully to what I want them to be. But I have over 4,000 of them, so I can actually play whatever part of the faction I want to. My Adeptus Sororitas, I only have 2,000 points, and so because I've been committing to painting them for my armies on parade, over half of them are actually painted to a really high standard for me. I really love Eldari as a faction, but I don't really intend to play them or paint them in any particular timely manner. I just collect what units I think are cool, have fun building them, leave them on my shelf as I'll get around to them project. And the 4th is just the Space Marines I keep accidentally collecting from start boxes. So they're kind of my I'll give it to the new friend. I'm here's Space Marines. Have fun. They're mostly painted.
Yeah, our Dark Angels player keeps using your bikes.
That's true, actually, because good luck for him trying to get the Ravenwing stuff. Anyway, there's one last question, and that is, should I try other games?
Oh, no.
No. Are you kidding? It's
Absolutely.
40k forever.
I mean, it kind of is. But yes, you should totally try different games.
Yeah, it's like video games. You don't play just the same game all the time, do you? Depends on the month.
No, if you've got the friend group to support it, go and try a new game. 100%.
Yeah. If you're like us, Johnny included, wish you were here, buddy.
Come back, Johnny. We miss you.
talk so often about what else could we play? Can we do this game this week? But not all of our friends actually have games outside of 40k or factions for games outside of 40k. I know most of us have picked up a Spearhead for Age of Sigmar by now, so we could get that going in the future. Or most of us have a kill team of some sort. We could play that in the future. Johnny and I have a start box from a completely different game called Malifaux. We'll get to that in the future.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But look, if you're playing different games, you might find, much like video games, that there are different games that really tickle your brain in a way that interests you. For example, I'm not a huge fan of the competitiveness lethality of 40k, but I really love the setting. So I can overcome my somewhat dislike for PvP gameplay for the sheer fact that I just adore 40k. But some people will, really spring to life on some random indie game or some of the other tabletop games that exist, such as BattleTech, Lord of the Rings, which is also done by Games Workshop. Like, there are lots of games that all play differently from each other. And if you have the opportunity to even try a game, like borrow an army and try it out, I would encourage it to expand your horizons and see if there are other things you maybe like a bit more.
I think that's some good advice.
It's like normal board games.
Yeah. No one likes playing Monopoly every week.
Oh.
But I do like playing 40k every week.
Hey, do you want to play some board games? I have Monopoly. Ugh.
Imagine if we did that one weekend. We just turned up, played Uno.
40k nerds play Monopoly Classic.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Monopoly, I don't think I've ever played a game of Monopoly where someone doesn't get upset.
I don't think it's a good game. I know Johnny despises Monopoly.
No, really?
Yeah, I think. I'm sorry if I've misunderstood your opinions, my friend. I know he'll be listening.
Yeah, he will be.
No, I've never played a Monopoly game and everyone at the table had fun. That's true.
Yeah. It's someone has a bad time.
Hey, one day, general, casual audiences will realize that games like D&D, Warhammer, and their contemporaries allow you to actually influence the game rather than just be subject to its cruel capitalist RNG.
Right? You can change the rules if you really want to.
You can play Legends units and bring 10th edition units back into like the 6th edition. Combat Patrol. Yeah. Oh, Josh's brain is broken. Maybe it's a good time to finish the episode. Zach, thanks for hopping in again, my friend. Is there any closing remarks you want to contribute?
I think play games to have fun.
Yeah.
I think that's an important message of the episode. Play games to have fun. All right. Go out, have fun.
Are you not having fun? Do something else.
Yeah, right.
Does it feel like a chore? Do something else.
Do something else. And then maybe come back to it if it feels like a chore.
Yeah, I never paint, for example, if I feel like I'm forcing it, because then I don't have fun, and I want to have fun, damn it.
Yeah, that's solid. Down a couple drinks first. No,
sure. Drinks. Good night, everybody. Have a good day. Hey, have you been following the Instagram? Have you joined our Discord? Hey, have you been liking and sharing this with your friends? You probably should, and if you don't, pretty please.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, Zach.
Have you been posting?
I will.
You will. You absolutely will.
I'm like a jukebox. You put $1 in and you get a song.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm not going to go anywhere with that joke. So, with that, have a great night, everyone. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, bye.